There's a certain kind of woman who walks into a room and the energy shifts, not because she's loud, not because she demands attention, but because she carries herself with a quiet strength that makes people pause. Her presence speaks before she does. Her calmness is not weakness. It's power refined through years of self-discovery, discipline, and grace. She's not the loudest person in the room, but she's often the one everyone notices without knowing why. If you stay till the end of this video, you'll understand what truly makes her irresistible, the inner habits that build her magnetic energy, her peace, and her maturity. That is the real reward to learn the mindset that transforms a woman from being seen to being felt. A high-value woman doesn't chase validation because she has already validated herself. Her worth isn't a negotiation, it's a fact she lives by. Every decision she makes, every boundary she sets, every silence she holds, it all reflects an awareness that she doesn't need to prove anything. The moment she stopped seeking approval was the moment she became free. And that freedom radiates through her eyes, her voice, and her energy. Her strength isn't about domination, it's about direction. She knows where she's going, and she refuses to be distracted by things that lead her backward. She doesn't measure her value by comparison. She measures it by growth. Her confidence doesn't come from others' attention. It comes from the quiet satisfaction of becoming her best self every single day. That kind of confidence can't be faked. It's built through consistency, through pain, through lessons learned in silence. What makes a mature woman truly high value is her ability to remain grounded in a world that constantly tries to shake her. While others are busy proving their worth, she's busy protecting her peace. She understands that her emotional stability is her greatest currency. When the world gets chaotic, she doesn't get louder, she gets calmer. And that calmness makes her magnetic. Because in a society addicted to noise, peace becomes irresistible. She has learned that maturity doesn't come from age, it comes from awareness. She's been through storms that once broke her, but instead of becoming bitter, she became wise. She no longer reacts to everything that seeks to trigger her. She doesn't explain herself to those committed to misunderstanding her. She simply chooses where to place her energy. And that choice is what makes her powerful. The essence of a high-value woman is not found in what she wears, who she knows, or how much she earns. It's in her mindset. She carries herself with a silent assurance that she deserves the best, not because she's entitled, but because she's worked for it. She has faced her insecurities, fought her doubts, and risen from disappointments that would have destroyed a weaker spirit. Now, she doesn't need to announce her worth. It's felt in her presence. Her maturity allows her to see through superficiality. She's not impressed by status or appearance. She's drawn to authenticity. She values honesty over flattery, consistency over excitement, and substance over style. That's what makes her different in a world obsessed with temporary attraction. She seeks depth, and because of that, she attracts it. Psychologically, humans are drawn to what gives them emotional safety. And that's her secret. She's safe. Not predictable, not boring, but emotionally grounded. Her composure makes people trust her, her confidence makes people respect her, and her empathy makes people love her. She understands emotions, both her own and others, and that emotional intelligence is what creates a connection deeper than looks ever could. But don't mistake her calmness for softness. Underneath her gentle presence lies an unshakable strength. She knows how to walk away without resentment, how to forgive without forgetting, and how to love without losing herself. That balance is rare, and that's why she stands out. She's not chasing anyone, she's becoming someone. She's not desperate to be chosen. She's busy choosing herself. What sets her apart is that she no longer seeks happiness in external things. She creates it from within. She's learned that true beauty begins where comparison ends. Her glow isn't from makeup or luxury, it's from alignment, from peace, from knowing she's exactly where she's supposed to be and that everything meant for her will arrive in its own time. The high-value woman is not a fantasy. She's real, but rare, because becoming her requires work that most people avoid. It takes self-discipline, reflection, and courage to be alone until you meet your higher self. It takes pain to evolve into peace. But once she gets there, she becomes unstoppable. Her energy doesn't scream, it whispers. It says, I am enough, and that quiet statement is louder than any word she could ever speak. That is the essence of a high-value woman. One who doesn't just live, but leads herself with wisdom, strength, and grace. Stay till the end, because what comes next will show you the habits that build this kind of energy. The 6 habits that transform a woman from ordinary to unforgettable. Self-awareness is the foundation of every high-value woman's strength. It's the mirror she dares to look into, not to judge herself, but to understand herself. She knows that without self-awareness, confidence is just a mask, and peace is temporary. True power begins when she becomes honest about who she is, her patterns, her emotions, her wounds and her worth. A mature woman doesn't hide from her emotions. She studies them. She asks herself why she feels what she feels, and instead of reacting, she reflects. When someone tries to provoke her, she doesn't fall into their trap because she knows her peace is more valuable than proving a point. That kind of emotional understanding doesn't just make her calm, it makes her powerful. People feel safe around her because she has mastered herself. Self-awareness gives her clarity. She doesn't get lost in the opinions of others because she knows her own truth. She doesn't try to fit into places that no longer align with her values. She understands that not everyone will like her, and that's perfectly fine. Her goal isn't to please the world, it's to live in harmony with her authentic self. That quiet confidence draws people in because it's real, and real is rare. Through self-awareness, she recognizes her strengths without arrogance and her flaws without shame. She learns that both are part of her growth. She doesn't run from her weaknesses, she refines them. She doesn't pretend to be perfect, she focuses on being present. That mindset keeps her grounded when life tests her and humble when success comes. Psychologically, people are drawn to those who understand themselves. It creates a sense of depth and stability that the human mind finds comforting. A self-aware woman doesn't need to speak too much. Her presence communicates assurance. She moves with purpose, speaks with intention, and loves with consciousness. That awareness radiates in everything she does. The power of self-awareness lies in ownership. She takes responsibility for her life, her choices, her emotions, her outcomes. She no longer blames others for her pain because she's learned that blaming keeps her weak, but understanding makes her wise. That shift transforms her from a reactor into a creator. And that's the silent power of a high-value woman. She knows herself so deeply that no one can define her. Emotional control is the silent crown a high-value woman wears. It's not about suppressing emotions, it's about mastering them. She understands that emotions are powerful tools, but only when they're guided, not when they're in charge. When anger rises, she pauses. When fear whispers, she listens but doesn't obey. When pain knocks, she opens the door, feels it, and lets it pass. Her strength lies in her ability to stay composed when everything around her demands chaos. A mature woman has learned through experience that reacting emotionally gives her power away. So instead of fighting every battle, she chooses peace. Instead of proving her worth through words, she proves it through silence and action. People often mistake her calmness for detachment, but it's not that she doesn't care. It's that she has learned the value of her energy. Not everything deserves a reaction, and not everyone deserves access to her emotions. This discipline doesn't come overnight. It's built through moments of heartbreak, disappointment, and reflection. She's felt what it's like to lose control, to speak in anger, to regret impulsive choices. And from those moments she learned. She transformed pain into wisdom. Now when others panic, she breathes. When others lash out, she listens. Her calmness becomes her shield and her control becomes a quiet weapon. Psychologically, emotional control signals maturity and safety. People are drawn to those who make them feel secure. A woman who can manage her emotions creates stability, not just for herself, but for those around her. Her presence feels like balance. She doesn't drain people with emotional storms, she anchors them. That's what makes her irresistible. She becomes a source of calm in a world full of noise. Every time she chooses control over reaction, she rewrites her identity. She no longer lives on emotional impulse. She lives with emotional intelligence. Her peace is not luck, it's discipline. And that discipline turns her into something rare, a woman who feels deeply but remains unshaken. In her silence, there's strength. In her restraint, there's power. Emotional control is what separates her from the rest. It's the habit that defines her grace, her maturity, and her unshakable value. A high-value woman wakes each day with direction. She doesn't wander aimlessly, waiting for life to hand her meaning. She creates it. Her purpose is her compass, guiding her through uncertainty and keeping her grounded when distractions call her name. She understands that purpose doesn't always appear as a grand mission. Sometimes it's found in the small acts of discipline she chooses daily. Her focus isn't on perfection but on progress, and that steady movement forward builds an inner confidence that cannot be shaken. Living with purpose gives her a glow that no external approval can match. She knows why she's doing what she's doing, and that clarity makes her presence magnetic. While others search for validation, she finds fulfillment in growth. She invests her energy in things that nourish her soul, learning, creating, evolving. She doesn't chase trends, she follows her calling. That kind of direction draws people in because purpose creates power and people can feel it. Her mindset is simple yet strong. If something doesn't align with her vision, she lets it go. She's not afraid to walk alone because her purpose keeps her company. That independence makes her energy rare. She no longer attaches her identity to roles or relationships. She defines herself by her inner mission. Whether it's building a career, nurturing her health, or serving others, everything she touches becomes meaningful because she gives it intention. Psychologically, human beings are drawn to those who live with purpose. It signals stability, confidence, and strength. A woman with purpose doesn't beg for attention. She attracts respect. People sense her direction. They feel her drive. She becomes a symbol of what many secretly crave, a life led with meaning. Her purpose doesn't just push her forward. It protects her. It filters out distractions and noise, keeping her focused on what truly matters. She doesn't waste time explaining herself to those who don't understand her path. She simply walks it. And in that journey, she becomes irresistible. Not because she seeks admiration, but because she embodies something deeper than beauty or charm. She embodies purpose, and that makes her unforgettable. Boundaries are the invisible lines that protect her peace. A high-value woman knows that saying no is not selfish, it's sacred. She has learned that every time she says yes to what drains her, she says no to what truly matters. Setting boundaries isn't about building walls, it's about choosing peace over pressure. She no longer feels guilty for prioritizing herself because she understands that self-respect is the foundation of real love. There was a time when she gave too much, trying to be everything for everyone. She poured until she was empty, mistaking self-sacrifice for kindness. But experience taught her that without boundaries, love becomes exhaustion and generosity turns into resentment. Now, she protects her energy the way a queen guards her crown. She knows her time, her emotions, and her attention are valuable, and not everyone earns access to them. When people test her limits, she doesn't argue or over-explain. Her silence becomes her answer, and her distance becomes her lesson. She understands that boundaries are not meant to offend others. They are meant to honor herself. The moment she started enforcing them, her life began to shift. The wrong people disappeared, but the right ones stayed and respected her more. That's the power of alignment. It removes what isn't meant for you. Psychologically, people respect what they cannot easily control. Boundaries create that natural respect. They signal confidence, self-awareness, and inner strength. A woman who knows how to say no with grace is not hard to love, she's hard to manipulate. Her calm firmness becomes a mirror that reflects others' intentions. She doesn't demand respect, her boundaries command it. Each boundary she sets is an act of self-love. It tells the world, my peace matters. It tells her heart, you are safe here. And as she grows, her boundaries evolve with her. They are not rigid, they are wise. They allow her to give fully without losing herself. That's what makes her magnetic. Her peace is rare, her self-control is powerful, and her ability to protect her energy makes her truly irresistible. Independence is not about rejecting help, it's about standing strong enough to choose when you need it. A high-value woman understands that her worth is not tied to who supports her, but to her ability to sustain herself. Her independence isn't built from pride, but from self-trust. She knows she can rely on her own strength, her own wisdom, and her own discipline. That quiet assurance creates a glow that no amount of attention can replace. There was a time she believed that being cared for meant being complete. But as she grew, she realized that depending on others for happiness leaves her vulnerable to their absence. So she built herself, emotionally, mentally, and financially. Each step of independence added another layer to her confidence. Now she doesn't need validation to feel valuable. She carries that value within. Her life no longer revolves around being chosen. She has already chosen herself. Her independence doesn't mean she's cold or detached. It means she's free. She can love deeply without losing herself and walk away peacefully when something no longer serves her growth. That balance between love and self-respect gives her a presence that feels both warm and unshakable. People admire her, not because she's unreachable, but because she's untouchable by chaos. Psychologically, independence is magnetic because it radiates stability. Human beings are drawn to those who appear whole within themselves. A woman who can stand alone is subconsciously perceived as strong, safe, and admirable. Her calm confidence makes others feel secure in her presence. She doesn't compete for attention or chase affection. She attracts it effortlessly, simply by being complete. Her independence allows her to make choices from strength, not fear. She doesn't stay in situations out of need, but out of alignment. She doesn't beg to be understood because she understands herself. That kind of freedom cannot be bought. It's earned through years of growth, lessons, and resilience. The beauty of her independence lies in this truth. She is not waiting for someone to rescue her. She is building a life so fulfilling that anyone who joins her is an addition, not a necessity. That's what makes her powerful. That's what makes her irresistible. A high-value woman never stops evolving. She understands that growth is not a phase, it's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle. While others get comfortable, she stays curious. She studies herself, questions her habits, and refines her mindset. Every challenge becomes a lesson, and every mistake becomes an opportunity to grow stronger. She knows that the most powerful investment she can make is in herself. That hunger for growth gives her a quiet confidence that no one can take away. She doesn't seek perfection because she knows it doesn't exist. Instead, she focuses on becoming better than she was yesterday. Her improvement is not loud or dramatic, it's steady and intentional. She reads, she learns, she reflects, and she applies. That discipline builds character, and character builds power. The world notices people who are always improving, not because they shout their progress, but because their energy shifts, their mindset matures, and their presence deepens. Psychologically, growth triggers admiration. Human beings are inspired by those who are constantly leveling up. A woman who is committed to self-improvement radiates strength and self-respect. She's not waiting for someone to come and change her life. She's doing it herself. That independence mixed with discipline creates an irresistible energy. People feel drawn to her because she represents what many wish to become: focused, peaceful, and evolving. Self-improvement also gives her emotional strength. When life tests her, she doesn't crumble, she adapts. She uses every difficulty as fuel to rise higher. She doesn't waste time blaming or complaining because she understands that progress and pity can't live in the same heart. Every experience, whether painful or joyful, becomes a stepping stone toward her higher self. Her growth is not for show, it's for alignment. She grows to understand herself, to live with intention, and to fulfill her purpose. Each small effort adds to her glow, each bit of discipline adds to her calm. She becomes unstoppable not because she has everything, but because she keeps becoming everything she was meant to be. That continuous self-evolution is her secret. It's what makes her timeless, magnetic, and truly high value. Presence is a power few truly master. A high-value woman carries herself with a calm awareness that draws others in without effort. She's not in a rush to speak, not desperate to be seen, yet her silence often speaks louder than words. Her energy fills the room quietly because she is fully there in every moment. She listens deeply, observes carefully, and moves with intention. That stillness isn't emptiness, it's control, it's the power of knowing who she is and not needing to prove it. Her grace is not an act, it's a reflection of inner harmony. She doesn't respond to disrespect with anger or insecurity. She handles it with poise because she knows that dignity is more powerful than defense. Her reactions are measured, her tone is steady, her energy consistent. People remember not what she said, but how they felt around her, safe, calm, and understood. That's the rare beauty of grace. It leaves an impression that words never could. She's aware that her presence is her message. When she walks into a room, she's not trying to dominate it. She's aligning with it. She embodies elegance, not through appearance, but through self-control. Her movements are thoughtful, her words are few, but meaningful. This level of composure comes from deep emotional maturity. She's learned to slow down in a world addicted to noise. That slowness gives her power. Psychologically, presence signals confidence and emotional intelligence. People are naturally drawn to those who make them feel seen and valued. A woman who lives with presence has mastered that art. She looks at people when they speak, listens without judgment, and carries an aura of peace that makes others want to match her energy. She becomes magnetic not because she tries, but because she's grounded in awareness. Her grace is her quiet rebellion against chaos. While others react, she breathes. While others seek attention, she radiates stillness. And in that stillness lies her strength. It's the kind of energy that doesn't fade when she leaves, it lingers. Because presence and grace are not just habits. They are her signature, the essence of a woman who knows her worth. Self-respect is the foundation of a woman's power. It is the invisible force behind every decision she makes, every boundary she sets, and every silence she chooses. A high-value woman knows that her actions must always align with her worth. She doesn't beg, chase, or settle because she understands that doing so would cost her peace, and peace is too expensive to lose. Her self-respect speaks for her even when she says nothing. Every choice she makes reflects how deeply she values herself. She no longer entertains people who treat her as an option. She no longer tolerates situations that drain her. When something threatens her self-worth, she walks away without anger because she knows that walking away is not weakness, it's wisdom. Her detachment is not coldness, it's clarity. She knows her energy is sacred and not everyone deserves access to it. This kind of self-respect doesn't come from arrogance, it comes from self-awareness. She's seen what happens when she compromises too much. She's felt the emptiness of pleasing others while abandoning herself. And through that pain, she learned the truth. People treat you the way you allow them to. So she raised her standards, not to be better than others, but to be better for herself. Psychologically, self-respect commands admiration. Humans instinctively value those who value themselves. When she carries herself with confidence and quiet dignity, others adjust their tone, their behavior, and their approach around her. She no longer has to demand respect. Her energy commands it. That's the subtle power of self-respect. It reshapes how the world interacts with you. Her choices are now guided by peace, not pressure. She doesn't chase what's uncertain or cling to what's fading. She trusts that what aligns with her worth will always find its way to her, and that trust frees her from desperation. She becomes a symbol of emotional strength, soft yet unbreakable, kind yet firm. Every decision she makes whispers the same message. I honor myself. And that quiet declaration makes her irresistible because there's nothing more magnetic than a woman who fully respects herself. True feminine strength is not loud, it's graceful. It's not shown through dominance or control, but through balance between softness and firmness, compassion and courage. A high-value woman doesn't compete with masculine energy, she complements. Her strength doesn't come from trying to be unbreakable, but from knowing she can rebuild herself every time life tests her. That quiet resilience is what makes her presence powerful and unforgettable. She's learned that real strength is not in proving how tough she is, but in remaining kind when the world is unkind. It takes immense inner power to stay gentle after disappointment, to love again after being hurt, and to believe in herself after faith. That's her form of bravery, choosing peace over revenge, forgiveness over bitterness, and self-control over reaction. Her strength lies not in her resistance, but in her ability to rise again with grace. Feminine strength is psychological as much as it is emotional. It's the kind of power that doesn't demand recognition but naturally earns it. People feel it when she speaks with calm conviction, when she stands tall without arrogance, and when she faces challenges without panic. Her composure is her shield, her empathy is her sword. Together, they create an aura that captivates everyone around her. She doesn't seek to overpower others, she uplifts them. She leads through influence, not intimidation, and in doing so, she shows that strength and softness can coexist. A mature woman knows that being feminine doesn't mean being weak. It means being deeply connected to her emotions while being in control of them. That duality makes her presence magnetic. Her strength isn't forced, it's felt. It's in her tone, her patience, her discipline, and her unwavering belief in herself. She no longer tries to be understood by everyone. She focuses on being aligned with herself. That balance between heart and mind, love and logic, gentleness and firmness, this is the aura of feminine strength. It's what makes her unforgettable, not because she demands attention, but because she embodies the kind of power the world quietly respects. What truly separates a high-value, mature woman from the rest is her mastery of emotional intelligence. She has learned that emotions are not enemies to be suppressed, no impulses to be obeyed blindly. They are signals to be understood. This awareness gives her a rare kind of control, one that allows her to move through chaos with calmness and clarity. While others react, she responds. While others get lost in temporary feelings, she anchors herself in understanding. Emotional intelligence gives her depth. She listens to her emotions but doesn't let them dictate her actions. When someone disrespects her, she doesn't lash out. She observes, learns, and sets boundaries. When she faces criticism, she doesn't crumble under it. She extracts what's useful and lets go of the rest. This emotional maturity makes her presence feel grounded. People trust her energy because it's consistent, not volatile. She understands that not every battle deserves her attention, not every comment requires a reaction, and not every person deserves access to her peace. She chooses where to invest her emotions with the same care she gives to her time and energy. That selective attention amplifies her inner power. Her calmness becomes magnetic in a world that glorifies chaos. A mature woman with high emotional intelligence also knows the art of empathy. She can understand others without absorbing their negativity. She feels deeply but maintains her boundaries. This ability to balance connection and self-protection is what keeps her emotionally wealthy. She becomes a safe space for others, not because she tries to fix them, but because she understands them. Her emotional intelligence shapes how she communicates. She speaks with precision, not pressure. She listens with intent, not interruption. Every interaction becomes intentional, never accidental. Through this, she earns respect effortlessly because people can sense that she sees them clearly, without judgment, without ego. This calm, wise emotional presence is what makes her irresistible. It's not just her beauty or intellect that draws people in. It's her peace, her balance, her ability to make others feel both seen and safe. That emotional clarity is the quiet glow that sets her apart, the invisible crown that she wears every single day. The power of a high-value woman is never found in how loudly she reacts, but in how silently she chooses restraint. Self-control is not weakness, it is strength refined through patience. It is the quiet art of mastering herself before trying to master the world. While others are quick to speak, quick to anger, and quick to fall apart, she stands firm in her inner stability. She knows that real control begins not with others, but within. Her emotions do not command her, she commands them. She can feel anger without acting on it, face temptation without surrendering, and walk through discomfort without losing direction. That level of discipline builds trust in her character. People can rely on her because she doesn't change with moods or moments. Her consistency becomes her power and her restraint becomes her elegance. She understands that every reaction has a cost. A word spoken in anger, a decision made in haste, a promise given under pressure, all of these can damage the peace she has worked so hard to build. So she pauses, she breathes, she allows silence to do what words cannot. In that space of calm, she finds clarity. And that clarity makes her unshakable. Self-control also shows in how she handles success. When she wins, she doesn't become arrogant. When she fails, she doesn't lose faith. She remains grounded, knowing that neither victory nor defeat defines her value. What defines her is her consistency, her ability to remain balanced no matter what life throws her way. This discipline radiates through her presence. People sense that she's not easily swayed by emotion, temptation, or opinion. Her restraint gives her an aura of mystery and confidence. She doesn't chase validation, nor does she crumble under rejection. She operates from purpose, not impulse. That is what makes her magnetic in a chaotic world. While everyone else rushes to be heard, she stands in silence, calm and powerful. Her self-control isn't coldness, it's wisdom. It's the sign of a woman who no longer fights to prove herself, because she already knows who she is. Boundaries are not walls, they are gates of self-respect. A high-value, mature woman understands this deeply. She knows that not everyone deserves access to her energy, her time, or her peace. So she protects them with intention. She has learned that saying a no is not rejection, it's protection. It's the act of honoring herself in a world that constantly asks her to give more than she should. Her boundaries are built from lessons, not bitterness. She has been drained before. She has been taken for granted, misunderstood, and undervalued. But instead of turning cold, she turned wise. She learned that love without limits destroys peace. That kindness without discernment leads to exhaustion. So now she gives without losing herself. She helps without being used. She loves without being blind. People are drawn to her because she is clear about who she is and what she stands for. There is no confusion in her presence, only certainty. She doesn't need to explain why she chooses distance or silence. Her peace speaks for her. When someone crosses her limits, she doesn't argue, she simply withdraws. Her silence becomes the loudest expression of self-worth. Boundaries also reveal emotional strength. It takes courage to walk away from what drains. It takes discipline to stop explaining your worth to those who refuse to see it. The mature woman knows that peace isn't found in being liked. It's found in being true to yourself, and when she lives by this principle, she becomes radiant. Her confidence grows not from validation, but from self-ownership. She no longer fears losing people because she refuses to lose herself again. Her boundaries become her energy filter, allowing only what nourishes her soul to enter. This quiet strength is what makes her unforgettable. People respect her not just for her kindness, but for her firmness. She is warm but not naive, loving but not desperate, strong but still soft. A high-value woman stands tall not because she has never fallen, but because she learned to rise on her own. Her independence is not rebellion. It is self-mastery. It's the quiet understanding that her happiness, stability, and purpose cannot depend on anyone else's presence. She has built herself from moments of solitude, from nights where she had only her own voice to rely on. That independence gives her an inner power that no one can take away. She doesn't fear being alone because solitude taught her who she truly is. It gave her space to listen to her intuition, to hear her truth, and to build out her own identity without noise from the world. She knows that love is beautiful, but it's not oxygen. She can cherish someone deeply, but she doesn't lose herself in them. She gives affection freely, but never at the cost of her peace. Independence also means emotional freedom. She doesn't seek validation to feel valuable. She doesn't wait for approval to move forward. Her confidence is rooted in her growth, her struggles, and the battles she's overcome. That's why her presence feels unshakable. She is whole on her own. This strength does not make her distant or hard. It makes her secure. When she chooses to love, it's from abundance, not from need. When she supports others, it's not because she lacks purpose, but because she has found it. Her independence allows her to connect without attachment, to care without control, and to walk away without fear. People admire her because she carries herself like a woman who belongs wherever she stands. Her independence radiates quiet confidence, the kind that inspires others to stand taller too. She doesn't need to announce her worth. It's visible in how she moves, speaks, and decides. She becomes a mirror for others to see what self-reliance truly looks like. This independence is not just her strength, it's her peace. It's the foundation that keeps her grounded when the world shakes. And that inner solidity is what makes her truly irresistible. True power doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers through grace, softness, and calm confidence. A high-value, mature woman understands that her femininity is not weakness, it's her most powerful force. She doesn't compete to be louder or tougher than the world around her. Instead, she moves with quiet assurance, knowing that strength expressed through grace can move mountains. Her femininity is seen in her composure, in the way she carries herself with both kindness and conviction. She doesn't demand respect, she commands it through her presence. Every gesture, every word carries intention. She can be gentle without being submissive, nurturing without being naive, humble without losing her worth. This balance between softness and strength makes her magnetic. It draws people in without her having to chase attention. Her power lies in emotional depth. She can connect deeply, not because she seeks to be understood, but because she understands. Her energy brings calm to chaos, hope to doubt, and warmth to coldness. She doesn't use her femininity to manipulate. She uses it to inspire. She knows that true elegance is not about appearance. It's about energy, integrity, and how she treats others when no one is watching. And perhaps the most powerful part of her femininity is her ability to rebuild. Life may test her, break her, and push her to her limits, but she always rises softer, wiser, and more radiant than before. Her resilience is wrapped in grace. She forgives not because it's easy, but because she refuses to carry bitterness. She loves not because she's weak, but because she knows love is her natural state of power. The mature woman doesn't chase to prove her worth, she simply becomes. Every scar becomes her story, every challenge her wisdom. She walks with a kind of quiet glow that needs no explanation. Her femininity is her strength, her grace is her weapon, and her peace is her crown. This is what makes her truly irresistibly powerful.